Welcome to the Register's Report. My name is John Buckley. I'm the Register of Deeds of Plymouth County. This show is about Plymouth County real estate. Our headline for the month was July recordings were up across the board. And the Registry of Deeds is the recording agency for Plymouth County. Everything related to real estate gets recorded at our main building at 50 Aubrey Street in Plymouth, or one of our satellite offices in Rockland or Brockton. We preserve these documents by microfilming them and storing them off-site. Documents come in, they get assigned a book and page number or a certificate number, then get scanned as an image and indexed, and that is the way that our land record system is built. I'm going to talk about some of the documents and what happened with recordings over the month of July. I have a great guest coming on my second segment, Bill Keohan of Community Preservation Act, a realtor in Plymouth that is chairman of the Community Preservation Act. It will be highlighting some of Plymouth County's notable land records. So I'm going to bring you up some images. The first is deeds. Deed is the document that basically is a transfer of property. There are 1,129 deeds recorded in July compared to 1,037 in June, 18% more than July last year. Year to date, we're up 3%, and it's a positive trend in the market that sales are up. The next document you're going to see are mortgages. A mortgage is when someone takes out a borrowing to pay for a property. It is recorded as a lien on your property until you paid it off. There were 2,099 mortgages recorded in July. The number of mortgages are always higher than the number of deeds. Many mortgages go with the purchase of properties, but also many people refinance their mortgage, meaning they go back and get a lower interest rate to save money. We've had great historically low interest rates that people are taking advantage of. Our mortgages recorded in July, a little bit less than June, but up 20% compared to last July. And we've had a 35% increase over the first 7 months of the year. A couple documents that are a lot more concerning and more towards the negative end. We also track foreclosure deeds. Foreclosures have been a pretty strong problem across America, Massachusetts and Plymouth County. Since the crisis in 2008, foreclosure deed is when a lender has actually taken back a property for failure to pay the mortgage. 47 foreclosure deeds recorded in July. 7 months data is 53% higher. The next document you're going to see as an image are foreclosure notices. We recorded 105 foreclosure notices. Brockton, Plymouth, and Wareham, as you can see in the next listing, are the communities. The foreclosures and orders of notice by community have had the higher number of foreclosure deeds in orders of notice, order of notice being the first document where we see when someone's in trouble. I advise anybody that's facing difficulty in paying their mortgage to talk to a federal housing counselor. They're free, and they may help you modify the terms of your loan. Our training room is coming to be open again now that we've gone through the summer. Thursday, September 3rd, a very hands-on training on how to use our internet site to search records. We had a number of register on the road office hours at town halls in Council on Agings over the summer. We're still struggling with all these numbers because of our 30% layoff in staff, but I really want to compliment all our employees for really keeping up with it. At the end of the month, it's when most people choose to record the documents and have a closing. It's been a real struggle, but we still will get everyone on record. In the next segment, you're going to see Bill Keohan from the Community Preservation Act discussing many of the community preservation projects in Plymouth County. And we'll see you in the next segment.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Welcome back to the Register's Report. My name is John Buckley. In this segment, we always try to do something educational in nature. We've had surveyors, we've had closing attorneys, we've had commercial brokers, and anybody involved in the real estate market. We're going to do something a little different today. We're going to talk about the Community Preservation Act and how Plymouth has benefited from it. I have a great guest today, Bill Keohan. Bill, good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
I think you've been on the show once before.
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
Pleasure coming back.
Yeah, and so why don't you tell everybody about what you do in your private life, not your volunteer life,
Right.
and a little bit about what you're doing for the town of Plymouth.
Well, I grew up in Plymouth. I went to school in Plymouth, graduated, went on to college, and worked as an activist and organizer around the country. Came back to Plymouth and entered into real estate. While I was here in Plymouth, I was reading a story in the paper about the Community Preservation Act, and I said, gee, this would be a great thing for Plymouth to adopt. So I got together with a few people here in Plymouth, and we put together a campaign, and with my previous campaign organizational efforts, we were able to put together a campaign in 2002, and on May 11th, we passed the Community Preservation Act here in the town of Plymouth. It's now going into its 14th year, and during that period of time, we've been able to preserve nearly 1,758 acres of conservation land, parks and recreational ponds and beaches. We've able to build nearly 78 units of affordable housing, and we've been able to preserve historical landmarks throughout the town of Plymouth, whether it's a museum, Pilgrim Hall, or the Antiquarian Society and the Hedge House on our waterfront, or the Hollow House. We've been able to preserve our old library on North Street as a center for the visual arts. It's run by the Art Guild here in Plymouth, and they offer classes and they put on art shows and performances. We're also able to acquire with CPA funding and the old Methodist Church on Brewster Street. We were able to acquire the building from Beth Jacob Synagogue, and it has been converted into a theater for the performing arts, and it's run by Plymouth Area Community Theater. And it's a great opportunity to be able to acquire these things and improve our economic condition downtown. So it's been a fun journey. We've been able to accomplish quite a bit and do it in a very cost-efficient way, and it couldn't have been done without the residents of Plymouth supporting the statute or town meeting voting for the recommendations. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for communities that adopt it to do multiple activities. Just for the viewers' information, the Community Preservation Act, called the CPA, is a statute on the general laws of Massachusetts that allows a community that accepts it to charge a percentage on their real estate bill, and they also get access to money from a state fund. All the money that comes from the Registry of Deeds is from surcharges on real estate. At the end of every month, I send a check of all the surcharges collected from communities in Plymouth County on all the real estate recordings in Plymouth County into a state fund, and based upon the level of the state fund, the communities get money in addition to the local tax to fund projects.
Yeah, it's a great partnership because you're working with the county, you're working with the state, and you're working with the town. And when we went to adopt the Community Preservation Act, you could actually ask for up to 3%.
Right.
Plymouth, we were a little bit conservative, and we went with 1.5%. And this means that on your quarterly tax bill, you have a surcharge of 1.5%. Right. We collect that in Plymouth, and again, it's for building community housing, preserving historical landmarks, buying open space for protection of water and conservation, and building public lands and parks. We raise approximately around $1 million a year within Plymouth, and then we're matched by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, where they get their trust fund by real estate transactions all across the Commonwealth in the Registry of Deeds. Right. So we get that match. But the real beauty of the Community Preservation Act, its ability to partner with other organizations and leverage the funding that we have and put the town in a position where they can actually apply for additional grants. Applying for grants, granting bodies want to fund you, but they want to see what you can bring to the table. Your stronger grant application is your ability to demonstrate how much money you're putting aside for this project. So the grants that we've been able to achieve, in the matches that we've been able to acquire from the state, in the leverage that we have been able to do with financial partners has made the statute quite impactful. For every dollar the taxpayer in Plymouth pays into the Community Preservation Act, that dollar turns into $3.50 based on leverage and grant writing in matches that have come from the state. So it's a beneficial statute. But it's in recent weeks, well, actually in the last year, the Community Preservation Committee has been working with town meeting in the town of Plymouth and the Board of Selectmen in passing an article to reclaim the 1820 courthouse as our new town hall. It was a question that came up when we first acquired the building back in 2010 from the county. We bought the complex and we began a long debate on what to do with the building. Eventually, consensus came that it would make an excellent location for our new town hall. So the process that we've been involved in for the last year is restoring the 1820 courthouse that sits on the green, but in the back where the old commissioner's building was originally a jail that was demolished. Some additions off the back of the courthouse from the 1960s and 1890s was removed to make way for a new building in the back that will be a new town hall. During that process, we were able to reclaim quite a bit of materials. I was able to bring a few photographs and images of some of the work that's going on at the site. Here's a photo where you're looking at the 1820 courthouse. In the back of it, you can see the 1881 in 1916 edition minus the 1961 edition. This is during demolition. And this right here is the 1857 jail that is being demolished here. A lot of this brick was reclaimed and will be reused in the building of the town hall. The brick will be used for parts of the sidewalks and some of the foyer entrances. We were able to claim quite a bit of marble from the back of the 1820 courthouse. That will be put into the glass atrium that will connect the two buildings. You can see in the next image, you can see the back of the 1820 being demolished there, cutting into the back of the building. Approximately where this building is coming down is where the new town hall will be. We can go to the next clip. This is getting into that demolition of the back of the building. We were very careful to dismantle the building to reclaim as much of brick as possible. But prior to taking the buildings down, we went in and we removed doors, windows, floors, benches. Here's a stained glass window that you might recognize from the old Registry of Deeds.
I certainly do.
That was removed from the Registry of Deeds, which is also under renovations into residential units. The owner of the building, Mr. Rick Veo, was kind enough to donate this stained glass window to the town. The architects took the measurements, and this stained glass window will be in the atrium of our town hall. When you walk into the town hall in the atrium at the front door, this will be displayed. Interesting enough, the county sale was the town sale right up until 1936. They were the same sale.
Right.
And
originally the colony sale.
right, so we still have it as a town sale, so it's going to find a new home in our new town hall. The next photo is of the probate bench that was reclaimed from the Registry of Deeds. This bench will be used in the new meeting room in the town hall where the Selectmen, School Committee, Planning Board, FinCom committees will meet behind this desk. So it's interesting. Here's it's coming out of the back of the building on the cable here.
It came out already? Yeah, it was up there last time.
Yeah, it came out. It's
I
going to
was
be
up there.
restored. The next photo is, this is a rendering of the 1820 courthouse. There was a lot of debate about, do we keep the 1920 white facade? But this 1857 structure originally looks like this, where it was brownstone. Right. It was the decision of the Historical Commission to go with the brownstone. So the building will be restored to its 1881 facade. This building was originally built in 1820. There was an addition in 1857.
Right.
There was a fire in 1881. Someone was on the roof doing some work and they burnt the roof off, and they had to rebuild the roof and courtroom in 1881. And that's the era in which we're going back to. You can see the next video here is a rendering of the refurbished courthouse green. You can see the sidewalks will be brick from the reclaimed brick from the back building, some gas lanterns, and we're bringing back the 1857 water feature in the middle of the green.
Oh, great.
So that will be what the green might look like when we're done in 2017. The next photo here is a rendering of the interior of the 1820 courtroom. The 1820 courtroom will remain as a meeting space. It won't be a museum. People will come. The Board of Selectmen will meet here. It's important that that room that had been a center point for public activity continue to have that role. So it will be a living, functioning room that you'll go in and make decisions.
Okay.
So the next video here is the rendering of the paint analysis that was done on the walls. We're returning it to this 1881. Donna Curtin with the Antiquarian Society was able to do a lot of research at the Plymouth Public Library to determine what the flooring and walls look like based on articles, and this is a rendering of the rug that was there.
Right.
The next photo here is the hallway outside of the courtroom. We had a lot of ADA compliant issues because we had an 1857, 1881 room that had to meet code, and we were able to work with the state to come up with ways of preserving the history but still being compliant.
Right.
In this drawing, you can see that the rooms to the courtroom will be permanently open with a new glass door, preserving the original doors.
Okay.
And there's the interior of the court room right now as it stands now. We're in the process of refurbishing that furniture. The next video that's the new meeting room on the top, and you can see the probate bench will be in that room for future meetings. This is a teller's window down below in the new town hall, the treasurer's office. The next cut, you'll see some hallway photos of what the new town hall will look like.
Right.
And the next photo is some more of the courtroom, and it's under restoration and preservation. The next photo is back to us. So it's been a long process of determining what to do with the building, but there's a lot of excitement. Right now, we were able to get an agreement from town meeting to pay for this project. In excess of $35 million will be done through the meals tax. So the building of our new town hall will not raise or appropriate or be put on your property taxes, but will be raised through the meals tax. The meals tax is performing very well. It's been in place now for a year or so, and will pay for the renovations to the building of the new town hall. The CPA fund will pay for the restorations of the front building of the 1820 courthouse.
And how's Lady Justice doing?
Lady Justice was taken down in the winter. She came down. She's under restoration work, and she's been
With Lady Justice is the statue, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, up on the top is
cupola kind of
yeah,
thing.
she's the justice. She's a Roman god of justice, Justina, and she dates back to the Romans. Really picked up the idea from the Egyptians. It's a 4,000-year-old concept to have this lady holding a scale and a sword and blindfolded. And she was taken down this winter. She's under restoration. She's currently on display in the Plymouth Public Library during that restoration period of time. But she will be brought back to her perch on top of the courthouse.
What is it made out of?
It was
She made out of?
Yeah, it was carved out of white oak.
Okay.
And so we've been working with some of the former county employees.
Right.
I think you know them. You put us in contact with them, and we've talked to them over the last year about what their recollections of the work that was done to her over time. But she's going to get a complete overhaul and put back up on top of the 1820 courthouse.
That's great. It's going to be a great project. It's really upsetting to me that there are so many towns still in Plymouth County that have not adopted the CPA. So basically the money that they're generating in their community is going all around the state.
Yeah.
For a while, there were only the really wealthy communities like Dover and Wellesley that had adopted it, and gradually towns like Plymouth and others have seen the benefit of it. And I know even recently in Abington, the town meeting adopted it, but it still has to go on the ballot for approval.
Yeah, I think the towns struggle in southeastern Massachusetts. Today it's very costly to maintain the responsibilities people have, municipalities and families. So any chance that you can derive a statute that alleviates that
Sure.
and improves the condition in your community,
Right.
the Community Preservation Act has worked out to be that.
Right.
And we're able to preserve the historical character of southeastern Massachusetts. People travel to Plymouth to see these architectural features, this history, and recreate, and to provide it with the Community Preservation Fund in a way that doesn't overly burden the taxpayer is a very innovative way of doing it.
So I got a signal we're going to start to wrap it up pretty soon. But there is one innovative project that I remember that kind of gets overlooked sometimes. The bell
Yep.
and the access way you had to record to get the CPA funds
A couple
applied.
years ago, we restored our Paul Revere bell, the town of Plymouth. It dated back to the.
And that is in the church?
Yeah, it's in the Episcopal Church.
Right.
It's in the Unitarian Church in our town square. It's up
Right.
on the roof, and it's in a cupola there. And we restored it with CPA funds, but we were required to put a restriction on it, and it was difficult to put a restriction on a bell which isn't at a fixed longitude and latitude. Right. So we was granted an easement to the bell, and we put the restriction on the easement.
And recorded that.
When we found out that where the church stood was still considered town-owned land, because when they separated church and state in the Commonwealth in the 1830s, no one made it up to the registry of deeds and notified them of that. Yeah. So the building still sits on town-owned land until someone straightens
so
that out.
So the easement sits out there by itself, I
Correct.
guess. Right? That's interesting. No, I think it's a lot of good background information, a lot of things people all across Plymouth County can look forward to. The restoration of the old county courthouse, probably the 6th or 7th location for court activity in Plymouth County. As the court got bigger and bigger and bigger, they kept building new ones, and our old building was the result of outgrowing the 1820 courthouse. Our building on Russell Street, which is going to be condominiums.
Right.
And now all the court function in the registry is over on Overy Street. So a progression of larger needs over many years.
It's important to manage those things, the growing population in the area, but preserving those unique rural characteristics that people come to New England and Plymouth to see.
Right.
It's interesting when you walk down Main Street and you run into people from halfway around the world, and they're looking at our architecture and they're looking at our history, and our ability to preserve it is economically beneficial to the region.
Great. So I'm looking forward to the opening.
Great.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay.
We've got a big problem, and we need your help.
It's called sexual assault, and it has to stop.
We have to stop it. So listen up.
If she doesn't consent, or if she can't consent,
it's a crime. It's wrong.
We need all of you to be part of the solution. This is about respect. It's about responsibility.
It's up to all of us to put an end to sexual assault. And that starts with you.
Because one is too many.
I'd like to thank Bill Keohan for his discussion of all the activities within Plymouth County relative to the Community Preservation Act. We always try to do something a little lighter in nature. In this third segment, we're going to talk about some of our notable land records, the holidays in August, VJ Day and Women's Equality Day. The images we're going to talk about, locations we're going to talk about, individuals we're going to talk about is Duxbury Beach in Duxbury, Joshua James, a famous lifesaver who was in Hull, in the Cut River Canal that ran between Duxbury and Marshfield. The first image you're going to see is Duxbury Beach. It is a beautiful location of white sand barrier beach off of the main part of Duxbury. It is a barrier beach. You can get there either by crossing over a very well-known wooden bridge, the Powder Point Bridge, or over Gurnett Road. It serves as a recreational, scenic, and conservation area to many people and is continuing to be preserved. It is currently owned by the Duxbury Beach Reservation and is open to the public. The next image you're going to see is of Captain Joshua James, one of the world's most famous lifesavers. He was a Hull native. His mother and sister drowned in a schooner accident when he was a child. but he dedicated his life to saving lives. In the time of his service, there weren't a lot of great navigation devices developed for the ships. A lot of ships crashed on many of the shoals of Plymouth County, particularly down at Nantasket and Point Allerton in Hull. He is known for saving hundreds of lives. He started basically the United States Life-Saving Service at the Point Allerton Station. He was named a keeper of the new station. He had, in 1902, off of Monomoy, in a training program for his staff, he actually died from a heart attack, later buried in Hull in a lifeboat. His former station now houses the Hull Life-Saving Museum. I want to mention that recently the Coast Guard named one of its new magnificent cutters, one of 9 enormous Coast Guard cutters built after Joshua James. There's a Joshua James Day celebrated in Massachusetts every day, the 3rd Sunday of May. And our last image is of the Cut River Canal. Many years ago, in the early colonial period, ships were having difficulty going around Gurnet Point. So the colonial court in 1636 ordered that a canal would be built connecting through Duxbury Harbor to Green Harbor, so ships going around Gurnet Point wouldn't crash on the shoals. The court ordered a canal 18 feet wide, 6 feet deep, would be dug 10 men at a time, overseen by the governor, and that allowed ships to travel safely, and actually was operational up until the 1800s, when the size of ships and the lighthouses on Gurnet Point made it safer. We're actually displaying at the registry a 3rd Thursday of every month one of our colonial records. This particular document voted on and entered into the court record by the colonial court in 1636 will be on display that day. For more information, go to our website. I just want to take a moment before we close out to thank PAC TV. David Antoine allowed me to get these programs together. Erica Christensen is now helping me organize the program, and Lorna Green Baker and Christine Richards, my office, helped me put this together. And today we had Ben Alexander working with us on the production room, making sure I was timely and met all the deadlines of this program. But I want to thank, once again, the ability to share this information with the public, and I'll see you next month.